So you're thinking about moving to East Cobb, and it's one of the most popular North Atlanta suburbs for families, and you may be wondering if it's all it's cracked up to be. So today we're going to go through the pros and the cons of living in East Cobb and give you an honest overview.
Welcome back. I'm Allison.
And I'm Jennifer. We're with Turnkey Collective right here in North Atlanta.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by. So if you're on this channel, then you're probably interested in learning more about the North Atlanta suburbs, and that's where Jen and I hang out a lot. So we're going to talk to you today specifically about East Cobb, and if you're interested in learning about other North Atlanta suburbs, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel, and we've got lots of great information there for you.
Yeah, awesome. So let's jump in. Let's go with pros first, and I think the first one is community and safety. So East Cobb is a well-established community. It's been around since the 60s. It is a community that is part of Cobb County, but it has a Marietta address.
Yeah, a little confusing if you're just moving here.
So it is like we mentioned, it's a family-centric community, and that, is obvious with some of the schools' ratings and the family draw and the activities that are available. We'll talk more about that. In fact, a lot of the community, as they age and they downsize and become empty nesters, are staying in the community as their children come back and raise their families.
Yeah, I'm surprised how many of those people actually live in my own neighborhood, and I think one of the biggest reasons for that is the tax discounts that they get. So once you're 62 years old and you're living in East Cobb, you start to get a school tax credit, which is going to make it, much easier for seniors to stay in these homes more long term and be able to see, their kids and their grandkids. So we're definitely seeing that a lot here in East Cobb.
And it's actually a pretty significant savings. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
So another big pro for East Cobb is going to be the location. It's centrally located between a lot of highways. Like you've got 75 you can jump on to get into town, 400. Both of those take you to the perimeter, which is 285. And then in addition to that, you've got back road arteries that take you into town, up to the North Mountains. So it allows you to avoid traffic the best that you can and have different avenues of getting to where you want to go. Yeah, for example, you can get into Atlanta within about 45 minutes, and you can get to the airport within about 60 minutes, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, and we hear that a lot from people moving here out of state, always curious how close they are to the airport, since that is such a big draw here in Atlanta.
Sure
so in East Cobb, you're not too far. Next on our list is going to be parks and recreation areas in East Cobb. So that is one area where I think East Cobb really shines. We have several parks, and the one that really sticks out in my mind is East Cobb Park. It's probably our largest park, and it has a pavilion and baseball fields. There's trails. There's a ton of things to do. East Cobb often has events there, and you can even rent out a pavilion and have your kid's birthday party there if you want.
Yeah, you sure can. And don't forget about sports. Sports is really big in East Cobb. A lot of organized youth activities, and there have been a number of professional sports players come out of East Cobb, so it's super competitive.
Yes, East Cobb is a very competitive community. You're also going to find the Chattahoochee River at the south end of East Cobb, and there are several playgrounds. There's a paved trail along the river. There's a lot to do. So if you love, going out on the kayak, getting on a stand-up paddleboard, or if you're like me and you just like to go out for a nice run, there's lots of options so that you can get outdoors on your own or with your family.
Yeah, always something to do. All right, so another big pro, and arguably the biggest pro of East Cobb, are the schools. The schools are always ranked 9 or 10s if you look at greatschools.org, and many of them are consistently ranked nationally if you look at the Wall Street Journal. So 3 come to mind that are kind of the top tier in East Cobb. That would be Walton, Lassiter, and Pope.
Yeah, those are the high schools.
Yep, those are the high schools, but at the same time, the feeder schools for elementary and middle, just as good, and also ranking as 9s and 10s. All right, so each of those schools actually have some specific characteristics that make them so popular and so good. So if you're looking for something that's specific for your child, you want to take a deep dive into these schools. Now, Allison and I have both had kids attend these schools, so we can give you kind of the behind the scenes to what that means for you and your family.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, if you're thinking about moving to the North Atlanta suburbs, East Cobb, or any of the other North Atlanta suburbs, we have a free resource guide that we'd love for you to take a look at. It'll help you get started with your search. Go ahead and take a look at the description and you'll find the link there.
Yeah, awesome. So now with all of the great things about East Cobb, the beauty of it, the community feel, the location and things like that, it's going to attract a lot of people, right? So it's not going to be without some cons when you have all of those people people wanting to join. So let's touch on some of those things that you should consider when moving to East Cobb.
When we're talking about cons, the first thing that probably comes to mind for most buyers that we work with is the cost of living. So the median household sales price in East Cobb is about $700,000, and we're up about 6.5% year over year with prices. So we've definitely continued to see prices increase, and for some people it can feel a little bit higher than they'd like.
Yeah, and one thing to note too about that is what kind of house you can expect to find in East Cobb. We touched on it being an older established neighborhood starting in the 60s. So you're going to find a lot of ranch style homes, brick ranches. Now many of them are being renovated and they're beautiful. You'll find maybe a little bit larger lots. You also will find the contemporary homes of like the 70s and 80s, and what I mean by that are, not your traditional 5-4 and a door, but like your cedar siding, a little bit unusual floor plans and things like that. Not to say that they're not 90s homes as well, and that's where you're really going to find most of your swim tennis communities.
Yeah, and I think when you start looking at the homes built in the 90s and up, that's really when you're going to see the prices start to increase as well. So here in East Cobb, yes, like Jen was saying, a lot of the neighborhoods built in the 90s, you're going to have the 2-story family room and foyer, you're going to have the swim tennis, and that's when the prices start to creep up sort of over that median $700 price point. In terms of new construction, there's not a lot of options in East Cobb. We have had a couple new developments pop up over the last couple years, and there are some opportunities on lots to individually build a home, but that's going to bring you again over that median price.
Yeah, because you're usually going to be tearing down a house if you're going to do that and build from scratch.
Yeah. So another factor that's going to determine the price point that you're in is which high school your home is slotted for. So when we're talking about, let's say, Lassiter, which is one of the schools that Jen mentioned, that's on the northernmost part of East Cobb. And I think that because it's the furthest away from the city, you're going to find prices are a little bit less there than, say, the Walton district, which is going to be the highest, price point in East Cobb, and also the southernmost part of East Cobb, getting you, quicker access into the city. So all of those things are going to play a role in how much you can get for your buck here in East Cobb.
Yep, all super important. Okay, so another con we have to address is going to be the traffic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep, so obviously the proximity to getting into town and jobs and the opportunities and the lifestyle is going to bring more people, like we mentioned, causing more traffic. But let's be real, Atlanta's traffic is painful. Most people adapt pretty quickly. So just a little pro tip here, if you want to reduce your commute times, if you are going to work in town, leave early by 7 and get home by 4 if you can. Because if you miss your sweet spot even by 10 minutes, you're going to increase your travel time significantly.
Yeah, and thank goodness so many of us get to work from home these days. So hopefully this is a non-issue for you most of the time. Okay, so one of my biggest pet peeves that I think could be considered a con about East Cobb is the nightlife and restaurant scene. So things have been improving here over the years, but there's not really a nightlife here in East Cobb. Once you get over to the west side of Marietta, you are going to be able to go into downtown Marietta, which is really fun. There is a marketplace with a lot of different restaurants. And also in East Cobb, you're right on the border of Roswell. And in Roswell, there's Canton Street. Canton Street has grown so much. There is a brewery. There's actually a few breweries there. Really great restaurants. Really, really awesome outdoor nightlife. So definitely a great place to check out if that's something you're looking for. Also, about 20 minutes away from East Cobb is going to be downtown Marietta or Marietta Square. In Marietta Square, you kind of have a lot of options. You can go there during the day with your family. There's a little train park. There's often, different festivals. What is that, Chucktoberfest? That's my favorite one.
Yeah, that is an awesome event.
Yeah.
And the downtown Marietta area is adorable, so you want to check it out.
Yeah, if you like older historic homes, those are all around. Also a great part of downtown Marietta, if you're looking for, some more cultural food options, is going to be that Marietta Marketplace, which is an indoor food hall, and they have, I think, about 20 different restaurants to choose from. So really a great fun place to be. Not quite in East Cobb, but also not too far. So after all we've discussed today about East Cobb, it's kind of no wonder that so many people want to move here and that, the prices are unfortunately continuing to rise in the area. If you value community and safety and education, East Cobb is a great place to consider for sure. Also, if you want more information on those North Atlanta suburbs, go ahead and check out our free resource guide. You can find a link in the description. And also, guys, contact us. We are a real estate team here in North Atlanta, and we are Turnkey Collective, and we're here to help you learn the ins and outs of these North Atlanta suburbs.
Yep, just reach out. And so lastly, if you did enjoy this video, which we hope you did, just jump over and check out our last video, which we talked about another great North Atlanta suburb, Johns Creek, and we discussed the top 10 reasons why you would love that suburb as well. So be sure to check out that video. There's extra tips and tricks that you can find there.
See you next time.